All right, guys. Labor Day weekend, Sunday. Hanging out at Mike's. Blue Thunder threatening to have a cooling system issue, although I caught it. This tank, the crimp on the end of the core has come loose. All right, this is a lifetime warranty AutoZone product. We're gonna go ahead and change it out. I already got a new one. And rather than draining it with the petcock and having coolant everywhere, I like to siphon my coolant out. Okay, you just drop it in. You may have to wiggle it around. Make sure you get to the bottom of the radiator, and then just start a siphon in your drain pan. It takes about 2 minutes. All right, a lot less mess. I haven't even been under the truck. So once you got your coolant out, yeah. Come on, here. We'll go ahead and loosen the clamps. Okay, and never work. Whoop, a little bit of coolant up there in that hose. Never work on a hot radiator, okay, or cooling system until you're sure that the pressure has been released, and get as much coolant out of it as you can, because yeah, it's better to work on a cold one. Kind of like beer. All right. All right. Looks like this tank's trying to come loose too. This is actually the first time, all right, that I've had to replace this radiator for this particular problem. Okay, usually what happens is I'll grab that drain cock that I showed you earlier, and the damn thing will break in my hand. Alright, but here, now we've got a drain pan under there just in case. There may be a little bit of coolant come out here. Ain't gonna be much. Here, okay. Alright. Then we're gonna get the fan shroud bolts loose. Alright, I'm gonna set y'all down for a minute. Alright, so we got the fan shroud out, and if you're dealing with a stock Chevy 1500, you're not going to see this part, because this is something I added as a modification. The original radiator fan runs off the water pump and is mounted there. Well, obviously I ain't got one. I believe this is off of an S10, I think. It's an electric fan, and I've got it wired in so that it actuates itself thermostatically, but I also have a manual override. So anyway, but this is pretty much let's see, your fan, if you have a stock fan, it'll be right about here. Okay, and so far all I've done, these are the tools I've used. I use this 6-in-1 screwdriver as a nut driver for the hose clamps, and a 10mm socket so far on an extension and a ratchet. Alright, so we got our heater hose loose, we got our overflow hose loose. Now the transmission lines, highly recommend a line wrench for these guys if you've never touched them before. Alright, everybody says, oh, that's a nut, and they grab it with a regular wrench. If they've been there a while and they do not come loose, you will round this nut off with a conventional wrench. Okay, one thing I recommend is I try to put a little bit of lube on these things. As a matter of fact, all the hoses, I put a little bit of anti-seize. Even though we're just working with plastic and rubber, a little bit of anti-seize goes a long ways the next time you got to take that kind of stuff apart. Okay? So anyway, that's where we're headed. Alright, so everything is now loose. Okay? And we're going to see if we can do it like this. Should just come straight up and out. There we go. Alright. There you go. And according to the little watchy, I'm only 7.5 minutes into the video. So far, I've used a 1/2-inch wrench, 10mm socket, extension and ratchet, this little multi-tool, which has got a 1/4-inch drive and a 5/16 drive. Okay, so if you don't have this guy, just use a screwdriver, you know, or those particular sockets. That's for your hose clamps. So anyway, you want to make sure your mountain rubber is still viable and in place. These are prone to sometimes sticking to the radiator. Okay, these are hard to find. So if you pull the radiator out and that puppy's stuck to it, take it off and put it back in. Alright, let me get this new radiator out. There might be a little, I gotta inspect it. I mean, I did inspect it as far as, but I haven't had it out of the box yet. And we need to make sure that it's ready. So, be right back. Alrighty, and like I was saying earlier, we're gonna put some anti-seize on the hoses. And, I use anti-seize. You can use a little bit of grease, whatever you want. But it's just something to, because that hose will marry that piece of plastic if you don't do something. All right, and this is actually something we use at the racetrack. It's merely a combination of anti-seize and brake clean that put in a little squirty bottle, and the pit crew uses it to lube the lug nuts. Get a little bit of that on your finger and just give it a little wipe. Okay, and we're going to do that to all the hoses, and we're going to put a little bit on our transmission nuts. That's just simply so the next time, because we're going to be here, there's going to be another one. Okay, if you own something for 500,000 miles, you got to do this kind of stuff. And the way my father used to teach me was, you work on something like you're the next dumb son of a bitch that's going to have to work on it again. Okay, in other words, don't do stupid shit. Okay. He taught me to alright, when it comes to gaskets, he's, you know, these guys that put all this RTV on the gaskets. Alright, the gasket is what seals the deal. Okay? So his trick was to use just a little bit of glue to attach the gasket to whatever part would come off in your hand. Okay, and then here again, I'll take the anti-seize and smear the other side of the gasket so that the next time I'm there, when I pull this water pump off, the gaskets come with it. All I have to do is wipe the block down. There's no scraping, etc. Alright. Alright, and also another word of advice. Don't bother putting the shroud back on until you get these tranny lines hooked up. Okay, because it gives you room to work. My elbow is actually down below where that fan shroud would be, so pretty much the first thing you want to do is get the fan shroud out of the way, and it'll be the last part too. So come on, get on there. All right, and these don't have to be, they're not bolts, they don't have to be overly tight. Alrighty, so we got our recovery tank plumbed. All right, and I just use zip ties to secure that. The upper heater hose is plumbed. Lower hose is attached. Transmission cooler is attached. I will wait until we fill the radiator up to attach the top hose. So, here, let's see. We're gonna go ahead. Put this all back together. Okay, make sure the bottom is in your rubber mounties. Oh, wait a minute. How did I do that? Yeah. Come on. Yep, there it is. All right, get all our bolts started. If you want to anti-seize these bolts, you can too. Okay, just take them home, but don't tighten them yet. Oh, don't. Oh, almost. All right, and the top of the shroud has one of those little rubber booties too. You want to make sure that those are engaged. All right. Come on. There you go. Excuse me. All right, now. Alright, I've been missing one of these bolts forever. So yes, there's one that I missed over here. I'm aware of it. Alright, so there, there. Alright, so now before we attach this hose, we're going to start putting coolant in until we get just here, and then we're going to confirm that it's where I'm going is you're trying to get the air pocket out of the intake manifold. Alright, so we're going to start with a little bit of water wetter. I'm going to put a gallon. Plain old green antifreeze. Ooh. Excuse me. Then I'm going to finish it with some of the old stuff. The reason we're doing this is because I've just been topping it off with water. So what the old coolant is probably actually mostly water. And the idea is to fill it up till it just starts to come out that other side there. Yep, there it is. Okay. Alright, now while we're at it, we're gonna set this hose down and see if we get any alright, that's close enough. Alright. Damn it. Now it's just a matter of starting her up and waiting for the thermostat to open up. And we're going to keep filling it till she won't take no more. That's pretty much it. Alright, thanks a lot, guys.